Alright, so as promised, this was the second video that was requested out of a Legion build. Now, first thing, as always, you want to talk about the Legion. And this is something, I actually like playing Legion. I'm actually a very good Legion player, from what I've seen. I find it pretty funny that Legion is such a shit killer, but in fact, you can have very good luck with it. The key really comes to his power. You have to decide when you are making a build if you are going to use a build based around his power or if you are going to make a build not based around his power. And what I mean by this, you can use his power effectively as a Legion for the movement speed, for vaulting pallets, stuff like that. But you are not going to be able to, you're not going to be hitting survivors and applying that deep wound. If you are playing like this, you're very annoying to fucking deal with because you're using the 115 movement speed and you're using the frenzy to catch up to survivors, but not to actually hit them. Now at the same time, if you're using the Legion with his power, you have the problem of you can't tunnel, you can't camp. Legion is designed not to tunnel and camp, so if you're using his power, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be going after multiple survivors at a time. You're going to hit somebody, you're going to move on to another target, you're going to hit them, and you're basically going to try and do it. Now, Legion's power is not as bad as one would think. You can use the power, and it does injure the survivor. If the survivor's already injured, however, you're not going to get much further than that. Now, the second thing that I want to mention is there is a little thing where, and this is key, when you apply deep wounds, it reveals the location of all survivors who do not have the deep wounds effect and are in the killer's terror radius. So if you're running that type of a build, if you can use that to great advantage. That's the thing that I like. I like using that to my advantage, because I will hit someone with the borrowed time and then go around and find everybody. Because it makes you want to go after multiple survivors. If I can get all 4 survivors injured with the borrowed time effect, it doesn't matter if they bleed out or not, I've now slowed the game down. So we're going to talk about 2 builds. We're going to talk about one with that power and one without that power. The first thing I want to mention, monitor and abuse. Right off the bat, you want monitor and abuse on that build. The second thing you want is Thanatophobia. Where's the other one? Third thing you want is Sloppy Butcher. And the last one is Nurse's Calling. This is a good injury build. This is specifically designed around how your power works, about using your power to your advantage. That's not going to help us. That is one of the best things you could probably run. I think the duration is the best part of the build. Yeah. So, for your Legion, if you're running around, if you want to focus on, like, injuring every survivor and making it as hard on the survivors as possible with your little borrowed time injury effects, you run Monitor and Abuse, where when you are in chase, it increases your terror radius by 8 meters. That gives you an extra 8 meters that you can use to find survivors that you've not applied borrowed time to. You have Sloppy Butcher, which makes it harder for them to heal. Remember, the goal is not for the mend self-timer to go down. The goal is just to get everybody injured. So you have Sloppy Butcher to increase the healing time. You have Thanatophobia, which reduces any action speed. So this is more for the survivors that say, fuck it, I'm not going to heal. Like, if you get a Jake or a Nia that's running like Urban Evasion, Sabotage, and Resilience, and they're like, I'm not gonna heal myself, I'm not gonna worry about it. He injured me, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna take my 9% action speed bonus. Thanatophobia is so that you counter them, so that they have to actually heal others if they want to take advantage of it. They can't run Resilience builds if I'm running Thanatophobia, because the two counter each other. And Nurse's Calling is very strong on this build, especially with Sloppy Butcher, because Sloppy Butcher makes it harder to heal, and Nurse's Calling, at that point, makes it easier to find. And then for your add-ons, what you're going to have is Iridescent Button is probably the best add-on for Legion. It's basically a Judas Tubestone or a Fragrant Tuft of Hair on him. where your terror radius affects the entire map, and any pallets that you vault are immediately broken when you are in your Feral Frenzy. So this basically means that every single time a survivor drops a pallet, you're gonna vault it, so in the power, and it breaks automatically. It is a better version of Spirit Fury. I wish Spirit Fury was like this. Like, to be honest, I really wish they would rework Spirit Fury so that every time a pallet stuns you, it breaks. Whereas every time a survivor drops a pallet, there's no effect. Like, maybe you make it slightly longer to destroy a pallet if it doesn't stun you. That way there, you know, you actually want to get stunned. You could run Spirit Fury and Enduring at that point and really have a good stun build, but right now I just think Spirit Fury is absolute shit. The other add-on that you're going to have increases the Frenzy duration just so that you can run around a lot faster. But yeah, this is a solid, this is an injury build, forcing the survivors to all be injured, and because you actually don't need Ruin on Legion. Legion's one of the few killers that really doesn't need Ruin. If you're not applying good enough pressure, then you're not gonna you're gonna need Ruin, obviously. But as long as you can really apply pressure on one survivor, the rest will go in hand. And this is definitely a good build for that. It makes it easier to find survivors, to apply pressure on. It makes it harder on the survivors to do anything. And that Terror Radius add-on is so fucking powerful because, like, you don't know if the killer is right behind you. He can activate his power and be standing still, and everyone will jump out of their fucking skin and start running around. So you can actually use that as a little bit of bait. Alright, then the second build, you're not going to be using your power at all. You are just going to be using the generic Legion's mobility. This is built around the Legion's mobility. This is the lunge range, all that good stuff. You are not going to be using anything based around the power. So in that case, of course, we are putting on fucking Hex Ruin. There's no reason at that point why we are not putting on Hex Ruin. Remember, you're not using your power except for maybe mobility. This is an interesting one in my opinion, the way I have this build set up. Now this is a triple Hex build. I know people are like, why would you run a triple Hex build? So we have Deerstalker, which will let us, or not Deerstalker, Discordians, which that'll let us find generators. Ruin, that slows generators. Noed, that's backup because we don't really have, we're not using our power, so we don't really have to worry about Noed too much, about like not working when we needed to. And then Third Seal, just because Third Seal really is fucking annoying on Legion. Now, what makes Third Seal so annoying, especially you can combine it with the same two add-ons, is the fact that the terror race affects the entire map and you can't see other survivors. The fact that you can't see other survivors because you're blinded means you could be leading the Legion to other survivors and you don't even know it. And it's basically, you're like sitting there looking to see, okay, is that generator, are the pistons on the generator moving? And if they're not moving, then okay, I can run by that generator. If they are, they're like, oh fuck, there's somebody on there. So, this is an annoying build. It's not a very strong build. If Ruin gets taken out early, you're kind of fucked. If Third Seal gets taken out, then you're kind of just a generic killer. Like, to be honest, Ruin and Noed are such staples, but they're also so generic at the same time because they are so common at this point. Like, Ruin and Noed, in my opinion, are the two most common perks in the game to be run. They're the two most powerful perks in the game, but it also makes them so fucking overrated and common. Like, Noed is actually, in my opinion, worse than Ruin. Because a lot of people don't realize Noed is a Hex. You have to find the Hex Totem. The Hex Totem on Noed is kind of hard to fucking find. People go out of their way and look for Ruin, thank you very much. No one gives a fuck about Noed because no one knows until it's too late. That's the thing about Noed. See, if you get on a generator and start working on a generator, you will find out about Ruin very early on. You got a long time to find that fucking totem and get rid of it. Noed doesn't come up until the end of the game, and it's basically a giant fucking middle finger to you saying, oh, you thought you were gonna escape? No, basement time. And that does remind me, if you want, this is a bonus video, this is gonna be the last video that I run. Well, the last build that I run on this video. This is a very interesting build. Okay? This is Basement Crawler Legion. Now, this is interesting right here. So you're gonna have NOED. Remember, we are not slowing the game down in any way. We are forcing altruism to slow the game down. We have Insidious so we can sneak up on survivors. We have Make Your Choice so that once we've hooked somebody in the basement, we use our power and run away. And now trigger the exposed status effect so we can one-shot them. We have NOED, which NOED is nice. I also think that Make Your Choice is kind of a nice reveal card. I mean, you automatically get a notification when someone gets off the hook, but I just prefer Make Your Choice. Like, when Make Your Choice appears on the screen, that to me is a better indicator than listening to the ba-boom. Because if I'm chasing another survivor, running the opposite direction, if I'm not looking at the bottom of the screen to see that there's no survivor on a hook, I'm, to be honest, not going to know a survivor's been unhooked. So when Make Your Choice appears on the side of the screen while I'm in the chase, that's a good indicator that, oh, somebody fucked up, let me go chase them instead. And then, of course, you're gonna run Monstrous Shrine. I don't know why you would ever run Monstrous Shrine outside of trying to do a Basement Crawler build. If you are, I think Insidious and NOED are staples of that build. And then Make Your Choice just to be annoying. If you want to, you can actually take Make Your Choice off, and you could put Devour Hope on. That would be stronger because it means there's a second Hex Totem in play, so NOED doesn't get wiped out. And it basically applies the same effect. The only difference is you don't have to be as far away. You only have to be 1 terror radius away on Legion. So, Devour Hope, I think, is actually kind of a stronger perk than the Make Your Choice is, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed these, some build ideas for you. I guess now all I can say is get the fucking bounty off my head for Dead by Daylight. Bye.